From thieving Teletubbies to aggressive fairies, here are weird crimes committed by men in bizarre costumes. Number 3 is going to ruin your childhood. Number 11. Did you know that one of the Teletubbies was a kleptomaniac? Early in the morning on October 26, 2014, Terez Owens, a student of Lehigh University, decided to go on a magical crime spree. He donned his full-body costume of Laa-Laa, the yellow Teletubby, and went for a little breaking and entering. Why does a 20-year-old college student have a Teletubby costume? I have a funny feeling, that it's something untoward. Oh snap! I just said the word of the day, untoward. Untoward means unexpected and inappropriate. Good synonyms would be improper and indecorous. See if you can use the word in a sentence below, and we'll feature the person with the most creative phrase in the next video. Terez damaged a door and obtained entrance to a home. The giant fuzzy man found his way to the refrigerator and jacked a bunch of food. He then put the food into what has been described as his man purse and fled the scene. The police caught up with Owens, and he was charged with disorderly conduct and criminal mischief. Number 10. Got larceny? Back in 2011, in the town of Stafford, Virginia, a local Walmart was knocked over by a beefy criminal. Jonathan Payton, age 18, crawled into the Walmart on all fours wearing a cow costume. Once he got a shopping cart, he rose to a bipedal stance and began to graze through the store. He arrived, of all places, at the milk section and loaded 26 gallons of milk into his shopping cart. Then he rolled out of the store without paying. Still in costume, Peyton started to give the milk away to random people in the parking lot, and apparently he had several takers. I mean, of course he did. You're getting milk straight from the source. Who's gonna say no? The whole situation was utterly ridiculous. The Walmart's manager called the police, and a deputy was able to track down the man, who was subsequently charged with theft. Number 9. Next up, we're going to go across the big pond to Tokyo, Japan. One day back in 2008, Masayuki Ishikawa was hanging around with two friends on a street corner a little after midnight. What made this normal situation a bit abnormal was what the three amigos were wearing. Ishikawa was rocking a full Winnie the Pooh outfit, and his friends were dressed as a mouse and a panther. According to the police report, people were staring at the eccentric trio. This really bothered Winnie the Pooh, and he mauled a group of onlookers like they were a jar of honey. Ishikawa and his crew beat up two random people and stole about $160 worth of yen from them. Oh, you just got Christopher Robin, son! Weird cherry on top of this ridiculous Sunday is that the reason the three were wearing the costumes wasn't that they were coming from a themed party or a parade. Nope, according to the group, they ran out of clean clothes, so their only option was to throw on their best 100 Acre Woods threads. Number 8. What's the most intimidating creature ever? The pink unicorn, of course. In March of 2019, Jacob Rogue decided to strike fear into the heart of a convenience store owner. He donned a pink and white unicorn costume and walked into a local shop brandishing a crowbar. Without hesitating, this unicorn started smashing the register to pieces. It was the most magical armed robbery of all time. Jacob escaped with the cash from the till and several packs of cigarettes. But twist ending, the unicorn hopped into his getaway car and started speeding away. He then crossed incoming traffic, lost control of his car, hit a few mailboxes, and then finally ran into a tree. Cigarettes and glitter were everywhere. Jacob sustained serious injuries and then was charged with theft and armed robbery. Number 7. In the wee hours of the morning on October 29, 2017, in Des Moines, Iowa, an Iowan homeowner was cleaning up after a house party that he had hosted. When he went to take out the trash, this homeowner found a passed-out Care Bear in the back of his truck. 30-year-old Cody Schaefer was catching some Z's while dressed in his grumpy bear costume. Cody was really in character because when the homeowner woke him up, this grumpy bear went full Revenant all over the poor guy. The homeowner was able to retreat back to his home and locked all of his entrances. But this only riled up Schaefer. Using pure Care Bear power, Schaefer smashed through a locked door. On the other side, the homeowner was ready and with the help of his friend, tackled Grumpy Bear and held him down until the police arrived. Surprise, surprise. Schaefer turned out to be hammered drunk. He was charged with first-degree burglary. Number 6. Who knew that Tinkerbell packed a punch? Back in 2018 in Alabama, a Halloween party was just wrapping up near the Auburn University campus. An unidentified 18-year-old was walking by himself near the soiree when John David Wood, a 19-year-old dressed as a fairy, came out of nowhere and sucker punched him. The victim's jaw actually broke. Getting sucker punched by a fairy is something you never suspect. David Wood was arrested for the attack and was locked up in the Lee County Jail. Dressed as a fairy in jail. There isn't enough clapping in the world to save this fairy. Number 5. Why so serious? We have back-to-back Alabama stories. On the evening of February 6, 2016, a Jefferson County deputy was driving down a road when he was flagged down by a concerned citizen. The motorist had spotted a car that had been swerving on the road and suspected that the driver had been drinking. The deputy pursued and eventually found a red Ford SUV with a very drunk clown behind the wheel. Joel Sloan, age 51, was dressed in full clown costume and had been going hard on the sauce all night. When the officer ran his record, it turned out that he had an outstanding felony warrant for theft. Nothing funny about breaking the law. The sad clown was brought into custody. Number 4. The force was not strong with Jacob Mercer when he tried unsuccessfully to commit armed robbery at a Florida convenience store wearing a Darth Vader costume. Jacob entered the Jacksonville Beach store at 5:25 p.m. He pulled out a firearm and demanded the money in the register. Blasters are so uncivilized. A store employee struck Mercer in the head with a bottle of ranch dressing. Good thing he was wearing that helmet. Jacob fled, but was apprehended a few blocks away from the store. He was taken to the hospital so that his head wound could be treated. Then he went on to serve a 17-month sentence for his crime, and the rebellion lived on. Stay on target. Number 3. In Southern California, back in 2011, a person dressed as Gumby walked into a Southern California convenience store claiming to have a firearm and demanding all the money in the register. Pretty absurd, but what's great is that the clerk thought the guy was joking and told Gumby to stop wasting his time because he was trying to close the store. Gumby tried to pull out his weapon but couldn't grab it through his suit, so he fled. The clerk didn't even report the encounter, but his boss did when he saw the surveillance video. There have been no arrests, and Gumby is still at large. Number 2. Next up, we got the Sticky Bandit. This guy clearly watched Home Alone 2 a few too many times. In 2008, Casey Kazee, an aspiring thief, tried to rob a liquor store. What did he use for a disguise? Duct tape. This guy wrapped duct tape around his face like the mummy and was immediately tackled to the ground by a brave clerk as soon as he entered the store. The duct tape was obviously a pain to remove, and Casey was taken to the police station. Later, the 25-year-old pleaded guilty to second-degree robbery, and now Casey is serving 10 years in jail for his failed crime. Number 1. On February 13th, 2019, in Sulphur, Louisiana, the police received a call about a suspicious-looking man who was wandering in and out of people's yards while wearing a gorilla costume. The man's name was Jeremy Moran, and it turns out that he had been sampling the Walter White special that night. When the police found Moran, they yelled at him to stop, but instead he Donkey Konged his way through the front door of a house. Once they had the house surrounded, the police entered for a good old-fashioned search and seizure. After sweeping the first floor, the police found the gorilla man hiding underneath a mattress. When they tried to cuff him, he went full ape and started aggressively resisting. The police weren't in the mood for his monkey business, so they took the force up a notch. Moran was later charged with possession of Walter White, flight from an officer, unauthorized entry of a dwelling, resisting a police officer with force, and finally, wearing a mask in a public place. Here's an interesting random fact. In Louisiana, it's against the law to wear a mask in public. Being found guilty of this infraction can land you in prison for up to 3 years. There is an exception in the law for wearing a mask for Mardi Gras, Halloween, or religious purposes. But you don't want to test it. They're not monkeying around down there. Hey, hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. Throw us a like if you feel like it, and be sure to check back for a new video soon. Bye.